Sophie Cunningham went on the record saying and give the damn ball to Caitlin.
I think that everyone saw that we kind of got some flow when Kate was hurt and our offense was clicking. But now we have to have a new offense when she's in there because she just brings that much to the game. And so we have to adjust. And I think all of us just want it now.
That Indiana is even more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play.
Sophie Cunningham just voiced what countless fans have been thinking. Caitlin Clark's talent is being completely wasted by flawed coaching decisions.
Stephanie White, I'll say it again, you are a pure bum of a coach. Trash.
Stephanie White's style of coaching is not for Caitlin Clark.
I've never thought that I would be saying this. The Indiana Fever needs to fire Stephanie White.
One powerful statement from Sophie has gone viral.
Stephanie White, I'll say it again, you are a pure bum of a coach. Trash.
Stephanie White's style of coaching is not for Caitlin Clark.
I've never thought that I would be saying this. The Indiana Fever needs to fire Stephanie White.
Pulling back the curtain on what's really going wrong.
Sophie Cunningham has set the record straight about this Indiana Fever offense.
If you're on Caitlin's side, this moment is your rally cry.
Country has fallen in love with what we have created. And America, here's the girl next door, all grown up, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has changed the game. She changed it in college and in the WNBA.
She is a phenomenon.
Show 100% support for the player who's changing the game.
While Tyler Marsh is trying to turn Angel Reese into a star,
Sophie Cunningham didn't just make a comment. She dropped a truth that echoed across the entire league. After practice, she gave an interview where she said what Caitlin Clark fans have been desperate to hear from someone on the inside. The team needs a completely new offensive approach when Caitlin is on the court.
We kind of got some flow when Kate was hurt and our offense was clicking. But now we have to have a new offense when she's in there.
Because she's just that impactful.
That we kind of got some flow when Kate was hurt and our offense was clicking. But now we have to have a new offense when she's in there because she just brings that much to the game. And so we have to adjust. And I think all of us just want it now.
Her exact words? We found a bit of rhythm when Caitlin was out, but now that she's back, we need a different offense because she brings so much to the game.
Caitlin is that great, and we need to play a different style when she is available.
That one quote exploded. Sophie wasn't taking credit away from the team's brief success without Caitlin.
Caitlin is that great, and we need to play a different style when she is available.
She was highlighting how much of a difference Caitlin makes when she plays. She wasn't blaming her for the losses either. Instead, she was pointing to a system that has failed to adapt around its biggest star. And honestly, she's spot on.
every time Indiana started to look good for a second with Caitlin Clark, what did Stephanie White do? She sat her on the bench.
What made Sophie's comment go viral wasn't just the message, it was the raw, unfiltered way she delivered it. She didn't dance around the issue. She said it straight.
But now we have to have a new offense when she's in there because she just brings that much to the game.
Caitlin changes the game completely just by being on the floor.
I've never seen somebody fumble a incredible talent like this. Generational, once in a lifetime player like this.
Forget about WNBA career. For her life, has always had the ball in her hand.
And it wasn't a critique, it was genuine praise. She recognized what fans, analysts, and even opposing players have seen all year long.
There's always going to be adjustments when you're working people back into the lineup. There's no question about that. But the competitiveness and the attention to detail.
Clark isn't your typical rookie. She's a floor leader, a momentum shifter, a once-in-a-generation talent.
Doing massive, massive business for a league that has no track record of it.
Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the WNBA success, women's basketball success.
Caitlin Clark is a star. She's one of the most decorated women athletes.
But instead of lifting her up, the team system is holding her back. Sophie's words didn't just show support. They quietly called out the coaching staff and front office.
Caitlin Clark should not subject herself to this trash.
What she really said was, this team isn't adapting to Caitlin's strengths, and that's costing us games. She even hinted at internal tension building within the roster when she said, we all just want it now. That's not about effort. That's about urgency. It's about recognizing that the player bringing in record-breaking ratings and packed arenas needs a system built around her.
Her presence and her impact in women's basketball is referred to as the Caitlin Clark effect.
Country has fallen in love with what we have created. And America, here's the girl next door, all grown up, Caitlin Clark.
Not one she's forced to fit into. In one powerful moment, Sophie Cunningham voiced what Caitlin Clark can't say out loud, and fans immediately got the message.
Stephanie White, who thinks it's a great idea to have Caitlin Clark playing small forward.
Sophie Cunningham's viral statement didn't just spark conversation, it lit a fire under one of the biggest questions facing the Indiana Fever.
Her presence and her impact in women's basketball is referred to as the Caitlin Clark effect.
Country has fallen in love with what we have created. And America, here's the girl next door, all grown up, Caitlin Clark.
What exactly is Stephanie White doing with Caitlin Clark? Because if you've been watching the games lately, it's not just disappointing, it's downright frustrating.
We got the best playmaker in the world. We got the best point guard in the world. Why is Sophie Cunningham bringing the ball up?
Let's start with the most obvious problem.
This offense that Stephanie White has Caitlin Clark running is basura, dumpster juice.
Caitlin Clark isn't being allowed to run the offense. The best point guard in the country
build more continuity on both ends of the floor. And I think you've seen it in spells. But again, now we reintegrate C, we reintegrate DD.
A player known for her elite court vision, jaw-dropping passes, and ability to control the pace is being used like a role player.
Caitlin don't need to be integrated into an offense.
In recent games, Stephanie White started Arie McDonald at point guard and shifted Caitlin to the small forward spot. That's not a misprint. It's a coaching nightmare. This isn't a minor adjustment. It's minimizing the impact of one of the most exciting players the WNBA has ever seen. And the result? It's been a disaster.
They are plus 8.4 points when Caitlin Clark plays.
In one recent 80-61 blowout loss, Clark barely touched the ball. She didn't take a single free throw. She was planted in the corner for most of the game, while Arie McDonald, who wasn't even on a WNBA roster a month ago, attempted more three-pointers than Caitlin, Kelsey Mitchell, or Aaliyah Boston. That's not just poor decision-making. That's borderline coaching malpractice.
The Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark.
Stephanie White tried to justify her choices by saying she's trying to reintegrate Caitlin into the offense. But that completely misses the point.
This offense that Stephanie White has Caitlin Clark running is basura, dumpster juice.
Caitlin doesn't need to be reintegrated. The system should have been built around her from the very beginning. You don't bring in a generational player and force her to adjust to a rigid, outdated offense from Connecticut.
To build more continuity on both ends of the floor. And I think you've seen it in spells. But again, now we reintegrate C, we reintegrate DD.
You play to her strengths. You let her lead, like she did at Iowa, like she's shown she can in the pros. And this isn't just fan outrage. It's backed by stats.
Caitlin don't need to be integrated into an offense.
When Caitlin runs the point, Indiana averages 88.2 points per game.
There's always going to be adjustments when you're working people back into the lineup. There's no question about that. But the competitiveness and the attention to detail.
When she's off ball or underused, that drops to 79.8. That's nearly a 9-point difference. And yet Stephanie White continues to run a motion offense that slows the pace, limits Caitlin's creativity, and completely ignores what made her the most anticipated rookie in league history.
To what Stephanie White has to say about.
You see the Mavs just play differently without Luka on the floor. He's a guy who's high usage rate, the ball's in his hands. When he's not on the floor, that ball is moving, it's popping. Multiple players getting involved in action, and everyone's stepping up.
Lower usage rate for him.
Now, did y'all hear Stephanie White say the ball's moving, it's popping, it's getting in action? This is her pretty much confirming she don't like Caitlin Clark's style of play.
Fans aren't the only ones noticing the disconnect. Sophie Cunningham spelled it out. We need a new offense when Caitlin is in there. That wasn't a casual observation. It was a direct challenge to how this team is being coached.
As long as Stephanie White is here, we'll never see the true greatness that Caitlin Clark has within her.
It echoed everything fans have been shouting online for weeks. But Stephanie White seems more focused on preserving her system than unlocking the full potential of her star.
You need to let her pick her coach and pick what players she wants on the team.
No surprise then that fans are calling for her to be fired. This isn't about early growing pains or a slow start. It's about a coach who is actively mismanaging a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Stephanie White destroyed CeCe's game.
The Fever go down ugly.
At this point, it looked like there's a conspiracy against CeCe.
We struggled to do what the coaches asked.
Stephanie White is not a fan of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark didn't just join the WNBA. She brought new fans, record-breaking ratings, and unprecedented excitement. And how has she been treated? Pushed to the corner, limited in touches, and forced into a role that doesn't suit her. The worst part? There's been zero accountability. Stephanie White hasn't owned any of it. Not the collapse in offense, not the poor rotation choices.
She took Caitlin Clark out. Every time Caitlin Clark got something going, she took her out.
Not the fact that this team has lost momentum and identity.
And you're going to take that away from Caitlin Clark and go throw her in the corner.
Instead, she blames lack of energy or bad execution, never herself. And now fans are done being patient.
That was Stephanie White, people. The most accountable lacking coach I have. She's the most zero accountable having coach I've ever seen.
Many are threatening to stop watching, stop showing up, stop supporting the team altogether.
She has not stepped to the podium and taken accountability one time.
If Caitlin Clark leaves, they leave too.
Fans online has been threatening to quit watching the Indiana Fever basketball. Fans is threatening to quit going to the games.
That's how serious this is. And with the Fever still under .500 after nearly 20 games.
That was Stephanie White, people. The most accountable lacking coach I have. She's the most zero accountable having coach I've ever seen.
This team isn't chasing a playoff spot. They're becoming a warning sign of what happens when you waste a generational talent. Stephanie White had one job. Don't mess up Caitlin Clark's rookie season. Right now, she's failing. Big time.
Stephanie White will go down as the coach that ruined Caitlin Clark fan base.
What started as frustration has now boiled over into a full-on crisis. Fans, teammates, analysts, everyone can see it clearly.
I have never seen someone fumble, just flat out fumble a golden goose like this.
Caitlin Clark is being misused, mishandled, and forced into a role that completely undercuts her superstar talent.
You need to let her pick her coach and pick what players she wants on the team.
And at this point, it's about more than just basketball. It's about leadership, direction, and respect, not just for Clark, but for the game itself. Let's begin with the fans.
Stephanie White destroyed CeCe's game.
The Fever go down ugly.
At this point, it looked like there's a conspiracy against CeCe.
We struggled to do what the coaches asked.
Stephanie White is not a fan of Caitlin Clark.
Because they're the reason the Indiana Fever even matter right now. Before Caitlin's arrival, games were half empty, barely making a ripple on the national radar.
She took Caitlin Clark out. Every time Caitlin Clark got something going, she took her out.
Now, every seat is filled. Jerseys are selling out. Ratings are through the roof. And it's all because of Caitlin Clark.
And you're going to take that away from Caitlin Clark and go throw her in the corner.
Yet somehow, the organization has responded to this momentum by sidelining her, both figuratively and literally, shoving her into awkward rotations and misusing her skill set. And now, they're paying for it. Fans have made their feelings crystal clear. They are livid. Social media is overflowing with demands to fire Stephanie White. Clips from recent games show Clark standing in the corner, barely touching the ball, her body language screaming frustration. This isn't the Caitlin Clark who electrified college basketball. This is a superstar being slowly muted by bad coaching and worse decisions. And the locker room? That's breaking apart too.
We need to run a different offense because she's that great. We need to do what she does best and figure it out around her.
When she is playing with us, we play a different style of basketball, and it's almost like two different teams.
They need to run a different offense when Caitlin Clark is in the game. Give the ball to Caitlin and let Caitlin do what Caitlin does.
Sophie Cunningham's now famous comments weren't just basketball talk. They were a shot across the bow. She basically said the team looks like two different versions depending on whether Caitlin's playing or not. While that may sound like a compliment on the surface, it actually reveals a deep problem. This team has no clear identity. and the head coach is doing nothing to define one around her most valuable player.
Her parents don't even go to these games no more.
It's no surprise her teammates are frustrated too. They're being forced to shift between entirely different playing styles. One fast-paced and fluid when Caitlin leads, the other slow and rigid when she's sidelined or misused. That lack of consistency destroys chemistry.
The Indiana Fever and this organization is not in the best interest of Caitlin Clark. They're in the interest of self.
You guys are using Caitlin Clark for money and not allowing her to showcase her brilliant talent.
One night, you're running with Caitlin's up-tempo playmaking, and the next you're back in a half-court crawl. No team can thrive with that kind of chaos, and it gets even deeper. There's been talk that even Caitlin's family hasn't been as present at games lately.
Everybody click this box. Caitlin Clark leaves the team. Caitlin Clark leave, we leave.
The energy has shifted. There's tension within the team and the organization. From the outside, it looks like the franchise is more interested in profiting off Clark's fame.
There has been a large speculation that Caitlin Clark pretty much wants to go to New York
than actually supporting her game. A recent fan survey even revealed that most Fever supporters said they would stop watching if Clark left. That's not just popularity, that's franchise-defining loyalty, and it's being taken for granted. Rumors are already swirling about Caitlin's future. There's growing chatter about her wanting to play for New York. And honestly, who could blame her?
Her and Sabrina will be the Splash Sisters. I can see it now. Clay and Steph 2.0.
Under Sandy Brondello's high-tempo, free-flowing offense, Caitlin could absolutely thrive. Pair her with Sabrina Ionescu, and you've got the makings of a WNBA super team. Fans are already calling them the future Splash Sisters.
If we keep doing what you are doing, we're not making the playoffs.
Imagine Clark in a system that gives her the freedom to lead, to shoot, to create.
Caitlin Clark has to give the Indiana Fever an ultimatum.
Just like she did at Iowa. That's the vision, but it's not happening in Indiana. Not while Stephanie White's still in charge. So now the question is, how long will Caitlin stay silent?
Coaches, that's our job to figure it out. Why it is. You've seen it in spurts. You've seen it in moments. You've seen it with certain lineups. So finding those lineups that we've seen it with consistently and maybe keeping those together. There's always going to be adjustments when you're working people back into the lineup. There's no question about that. But the competitiveness and the attention to detail.
There's growing pressure for her to speak out. Fans and content creators alike are calling on her to make a stand, to demand real changes before her career stalls. And honestly, it might be time. She's trapped in a system that doesn't fit her.
Everything that she does, you took away from her.
She's being treated like a secondary option instead of the generational player she is. Every game that goes by like this is a wasted opportunity.
I don't need to be in a goddamn Indiana Fever uniform if y'all gonna act like this.
Not because defenses are stopping her, but because her own team is holding her back. Let's be clear, this isn't just poor management. This is career sabotage. Caitlin Clark didn't enter the WNBA as a work in progress. She came ready to lead.
Caitlin Clark has been let down. She's been lied to. She's been scammed by this organization.
She was expected to be the new face of the league, but with every minute she spends stuck in the corner while less skilled players run the offense, that dream slips further away. Caitlin Clark is not just talented, she's transformative. She's a leader, a cultural icon. But even the greatest talents can't thrive under a coach who refuses to believe in them, or in a franchise more focused on her image than her game. So here we are. The fans are fed up.
Maximize the business opportunities that have come from having Caitlin Clark to the team and to build a bigger, dedicated fan base for themselves off Caitlin Clark's back, but not centered around Caitlin.
Her teammates are confused. Her coach refuses to change. If the Indiana Fever don't wake up and start building around Caitlin Clark immediately,
she should be fired, and she should be fired sooner rather than later.
They won't just lose basketball games. They'll lose their fans, their locker room, and the one player who made them matter again.
Caitlin Clark has changed the game. She changed it in college and in the WNBA.
The country has fallen in love with what we have created. And America, here's the girl next door, all grown up, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has captivated the nation, breaking scoring records in college and bringing women's basketball to a whole new audience.
She is a phenomenon.
Her presence and her impact in women's basketball is referred to as the Caitlin Clark effect.
Sophie Cunningham didn't just make headlines. She exposed a truth that's been bubbling beneath the surface all season. Caitlin Clark isn't the issue. She's the solution. But the system around her is broken. The fans see it. The players feel it. And the stats back it up. If Indiana doesn't wake up and rebuild around the star who's reshaping women's basketball, they risk losing everything she brought with her. The spotlight, the ticket sales, the hope. This is the crossroads. Adapt or fall apart. And for the rest of us, we stand with Caitlin, now and always.